How about the onions by Andy Reid and company here and Eric Bieniemy? I mean, 3rd and 14, the fact that Chad Henne, you see, okay, there's a reason why he got those reps in that game against the Chargers 2 weeks ago. He goes for 3rd and 14, makes that incredible run, and then 4th and inches. I don't know about Key, but everybody I'm watching the game with talking to on social media and text chain, like we're all saying, okay, they're going to try to draw an offsides here. They're going to end up punting the ball, maybe taking the timeout when it's all said and done. For him to hike the ball in a shotgun situation and roll out and hit Tyreek Hill to close the game that way, what onions by Andy Reid. I love seeing that mentality. We're going to close out this game. We're not going to give Baker Mayfield the ball with X amount of time left on the clock. If that's 2 minutes, whatever it is, a minute and a half, and not give the Browns a chance. We're going for it right here and there. That speaks volumes about how this team offensively thinks and how they believe, even in their backup quarterback. That's just, it's absurd to me, but I loved it yesterday. I loved it.
Well, 3rd and 14, that was all guts, right? I mean, it was just, I'm going to pull it down, nobody's open, and I'm going to take off and run. The sprint right option play on 4th and inches was, when they got in the gun, I didn't really think they were going to run the ball just based on them running. They don't necessarily run the ball out of the gun unless it's a draw play, and they're not going to run a draw on 4th and inches. They're going to put a fullback in, and they're going to pound it away with tight ends and all that. But once I saw the gun and I saw Tyreek Hill in a tight split like that, I said, oh, they're getting ready to run sprint right option. It's a two-way go for him. If he's not open, then Henne's going to run and try and get the first down. He has a double option to do it. So I felt like, okay, they know that this is a situation they want to go out the way that they want to go out. I didn't find anything wrong with it. Andy Reid in the past has always done those sort of things, gone for it, whether it was in Philly or in Kansas City in those situations. Most of the time, they didn't get it until he found a guy like Patrick Mahomes. So I'm sure based on how he felt about the way that the team was playing defensively at that point in time, that if they didn't get it, the defense would have slowed Cleveland down.
And Key, I got to give the Browns a lot of credit. I mean, look, everybody said at the beginning of the game, if they had came out and had a lead with the way they run the ball, even though, I think they only ran for they didn't run well in the first half at all, barely can run the ball. Second half is when they got picked up. But still, for Baker, they had the ball pretty much the whole third quarter. For them to fight back into this game the way they played, Baker played extremely well. I think it's been a hell of a year for the Browns. Obviously, they would have loved to get the ball back with a minute and a half to see the opportunity to win the game. You felt like it was happening. Just at the end of the day, that play closed it out. But you got to give the Browns a lot of credit.
Well, there's no need for the Cleveland Browns and their fans to feel sad about yesterday where they were at. They won, right? I mean, the fact that they made it to the divisional round when the beginning of the season started off looking so slim to no hopes at all against the Baltimore Ravens, and then they actually wind up in the divisional round, one game away from the AFC Championship. They got the growth out of Baker Mayfield, so now that decision to move forward with Baker Mayfield makes it's a little bit easier to start that conversation with your staff. Is he the right guy at the quarterback spot? They get OBJ back next year. You know what you have in Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. You get Ward back healthy. You get Greedy Williams back healthy at the corner spot. So you start to build on what you put together this year and be happy with that. I mean, obviously you want more, but they won by just being there.
You got to give Andy Reid and the coaching staff a little bit of credit. Granted, Henne came in, it was spot duty, but let's just realize the circumstance of where he came in. Last season when Patrick Mahomes missed some time with the knee injury, I thought Matt Moore, who was coaching high school football before they called him up, acquitted himself quite well. He actually helped the Chiefs get the first round bye, get the number 2 seed, because while Mahomes was out, he steadied the ship, believe it or not. There is something to be said. You don't want to have a ton of confidence rolling into games with Chad Henne and Matt Moore, but when those guys have been asked to deliver, they have been able to do it, and I think it's a testament to the coaching staff.
It is, and you mentioned the coaching staff and Andy Reid in particular because he's the guy who, from a history standpoint, has had his thumb on the quarterbacks. If you go all the way back, and I used to say this for many years, if I was a quarterback that wasn't playing well or a quarterback that wanted to get a real shot in the National Football League, I'm looking for Andy Reid because you can go to Corey and Ty Detmers, you can go to A.J. Feely's, you can go to Michael Vick's. I mean, I could just go on and on. Kevin Cobb's. Everybody that went through Philadelphia that was not Donovan McNabb under Andy Reid hit pay dirt. with somebody else.
Right.
It's just amazing. Jeff Garcia. It's just amazing the things that Andy Reid was able to do at the quarterback spot, but also Eric Bieniemy, a guy that, I was listening to the game yesterday, and whoever was calling the game, they kept referring to Andy Reid as the play caller, and I kept saying to myself, well, Eric Bieniemy is the one who's calling the plays. And they kept saying, well, it was a great play by Andy Reid. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I thought Eric Bieniemy was calling the plays. They just all of a sudden forgot about him as a play caller. But what I would say is he's done a tremendous job at putting these backup quarterbacks in great positions to make sure that they take advantage of whatever skill set that they have. You don't need to you do what they do well. That's what you do. Whether it's the sprint right option play to Tyreek Hill, to Chad Henne, they knew that was a safe throw. He could make that throw. They didn't ask him to do something that he couldn't do, right? They knew that he had the guts to scramble on 3rd and 14, that he would try and go and get that play, which was the biggest play of the game for the Kansas City Chiefs, Zubin.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.